Hello my beautiful badgers, Messi Coder back again with another live dev interview, this time with ARTnGAME, creators of the ethereal URP volumetric lighting and fog, which is currently on sale over on the Unity Asset Store. Skymaster Ultimate, Infinite Grass, Infinite Cloud, Infinite Tree, Advanced Effects Creator, well, so much stuff. It's just too much to say in this intro, so sit back, enjoy, and I'll see you all in a second. Well, if everyone give a warm and messy welcome to Nassos, aka ARTnGAME or ARTnGAME, however you want to say. He puts the art in your games. There you go. Fantastic.
Exactly.
Welcome, buddy. Now, you've been on the Asset Store for about 100 years because we had this chat last week with Polygon Maker, who's been around. Actually, my stream not working again. Let's put that in there. Here we go. Now we're back in. It's working. So Polygon Maker was one of the early ones, but you're in there and early because you're 6,503. That is pretty early as an Asset Store publisher, seeing as there's thousands, hundreds of thousands now on the Asset Store. So when did you actually join as a publisher?
I joined 15, I think. So
wow.
It has been like yes.
Wow, 6 years on the Asset Store. You must have seen a lot of changes. What was your first asset that you made?
Indeed. So first asset was one of the particles. So it was particle dynamic magic, and I started with very simple effects at that point. I didn't do even any scripting when the first version came out. So I started very small. And I was making also things for Unity because I was making an RPG game at some point before 2015. So I made a lot of systems, and I started all the systems basically is something I had started at that point, as an idea even or as implementation.
Did you ever finish that game?
Never, of course, because it was a huge, this amazing project that would change the world of RPGs. That was too much a bit. So at some point I decided to focus on, because I like to make environments, to focus on this aspect, for example, of environment making and polishing, lighting, and all the things.
So which was very good. What was your first one that you did for the environment then? Was it the grass or Skymaster?
It was the Skymaster at first. So started with the sky, and then the grass was my next asset. Plus some other particle assets in the between.
Now here's the $1 million question. With all these changes going on in Unity now with URP, HDRP, how are you faring now with your assets which have been around for 5-6 years? How are they coping in the new world of HDRP?
Yeah, indeed, that was a huge issue a few around 1.5 years ago, and 1 year ago even still, because I had to convert everything actually almost from ground up to the new pipelines. So it was different. Plus, it was the documentation is still even lacking. So this was a huge work, I have to say, and it was many sleepless nights to get there. But eventually, all panned out, and also I got some experience from this because by reworking the systems, you find new techniques even and new things you can implement. So a lot of things that came after, for example, this conversion are new stuff compared to things that I might never have made without this. So I see also the bright side, except the endless work, of course, involved to do that.
The lack of sleep. Now, I just looked on the Asset Store. It says you released Skymaster December 2014 is actually when you released your Skymaster asset. Believe it or not. So before 2015. Now, you've got a lot of people using these in their projects. So when you're updating, making new versions that support these render pipelines, how did you manage basically being backwards compatible and not breaking people's existing projects that they might have put Skymaster in if they wanted to update?
That's a very good question. Actually, I decided to make these projects separate in this case. Yes, so everything is separate at this point. You cannot upgrade directly the standard pipeline, for example, to SkyMaster HDRP or URP. And I decided to do that because to take advantage of the unique setups and the unique features of each pipeline, you need exactly a new project, actually. So this is how it's. Of course, there's parity in some of the features, so it can be used between the assets. For example, the core of the SkyMaster is still the same, that decides the sun position compared to the Earth and the correct orientation and everything. So the idea is that you can still use the information you had from the previous core system and implement the new image effects like clouds and volumetric lighting and all these things.
And I love that you touch on that you've got your clouds and volumetric light, because you've got separate assets for those as well, which confused me. Because if I just go back to your store page a second, if you humor me, you've got SkyMaster Ultimate, which has got loads of stuff in. Then you've got Infinity Clouds, and then you've got volumetric lighting and fog system as well, and then you've got another volumetric fog as well. And then you've got sun shafts as well as another one.
Indeed. So the idea with this was that some users may need only a specific module from my ultimate project, that is SkyMaster, for example. So the SkyMaster is, I see it like a framework that has everything. And also users can have access, if you have the standard version, or the store, of course, can have access to the HDRP and the URP, and as it progresses at any point. But some modules, like, for example, the Ethereal, that is the URP version of 18, I decided to also have as a standalone project, because some users may want to focus just on this and not don't want the sky or the water or any other of the many things that SkyMaster is. And because users also asked for this, actually. So they were asking, I don't want everything. I want to just this one. And the same is with the clouds. Also, one part of these releases is because, for example, the URP and HDRP projects are huge. So I'm still in a beta phase for both, but many of the modules are production ready, for example, like Ethereal or the shader-based clouds, for example, that is Infinity Cloud. So I decided to also have this as standalone projects that users can directly use for the pipelines as they became available. That was, I think that worked also, because some people just don't want to get involved in this very big project and just want these clouds to work for them.
Sorry, carry on.
Also about this volumetric fog and sun shafts, this indeed seems strange, but still these versions are for the post-processing stack. So these are also very targeted. They are not for the URP, for example, or HDRP native image effects. They are only for post-processing stack. So that's why I have these packages separate, and I don't include them anywhere else, because, for example, for URP, I use the native renderer for faster performance and no need compatibility with post-processing stack that may be depreciated later. So this is the purpose of this fog and the sun shafts packages, actually.
That makes more sense then.
Yes, so yes, there is a meaning to all these things, but I understand that, of course, because all these are included in SkyMaster, it confuses people, because they think, okay, why SkyMaster is, maybe it's also cheaper than Ethereal, for example. Why Ethereal is not
I was going to ask you, why, exactly that question. 61 euros for SkyMaster and 70 euros for the Ethereal, which I was like, is this on a discount? Is that the right price? Is it going to go up in price?
Actually, the pricing is because, for example, Ethereal is in the store is a final product, so you can use it in the game. There is the license and everything. The SkyMaster, for example, URP is still in beta, so you get it from Google Drive still. So I think as an incentive to get, if you want the Ethereal from the store, for example, that is a final product, can get this one. Otherwise, can get SkyMaster and use the Google version. That's
Ah.
my rationale. But when URP version is finally released, maybe the price above Ethereum, go above Ethereum price, for example. So this is my rationale in this one.
Sanyo's in chat saying you've got some nice upgrade paths. So I was just looking at big bonus for Skymaster Ultimate users, upgrade to Infinigrass for $15. So if you've got the Ultimate, then you can get grass for $15. What other upgrade paths have you got on your assets?
Basically, all these sub modules like Ethereal or Infinity Cloud can be upgraded from Skymaster for $5, or vice versa. So if you have Ethereal, you can upgrade to Skymaster to get everything for $5. So I don't. I try to have this path to everybody that, for example, buys Ethereal and thinks, okay, why didn't buy Skymaster? For example, can just spend $5 and upgrade, or I can set it even in Google Drive, so for free. So this is no problem for me. So,
that is a good upgrade path. That is nice.
Indeed.
Even though you weren't able to come on the stream, on the first ever celebration stream I had, you gifted us a load of your vouchers, and we had winners on the stream, and there was a lot of interest in your global illumination asset, and the particle dynamics that you've spoken about. So before I get in, because you've got so much stuff, I really want to have a look at your clouds and your tree. I mean, want to understand what's the difference between your tree and other people's trees. But just to explain to people what your global illumination proxy asset is.
Yeah, so this asset came as a need for creating very fast emulation of global illumination. So it's not like a true global illumination solution that splits the space in many boxes, for example, and calculates for this box. So what I did is just emulate the bouncing of lights with unity lights. So if you have, for example, a directional light, I create a grid where this light hits, for example, the environment, and I use unity light to emulate light on the spots it hits. So it's a emulation, and it generally works. There is some leaking, for example, for light, of course, because it's not perfect. But even in the official, in quotes, methods, there is also light leaking if you don't use the proper resolution and make the effect heavier. So this was my rationale with the GI Pro method to emulate global illumination, and it works in real time. It doesn't use any baking or anything. And also it's a way also to spread lights in the scene, and you can take these lights and also bake them, for example. So it has this functionality.
And how much have you used this in your own projects? How much improvement have you noticed in the performance?
Performance depends on the. For example, in the deferred rendering is better because it can handle many lights, so better. So I would suggest deferred, and it's directly proportional to the lights used, because this is adjustable. So you can even use, I have also tested, and I have a method for mobile that you can even use just one light, for example, to emulate the bouncing from a spotlight or something. So it can be very fast. Of course, as you increase the light grid to make the effect more detailed, it goes slower, for example. And this is directly proportional to unity lights. So to Gauss performance, you can just put unity lights and see how your performance will be, for example, before you even get the system. Because I don't do anything else, actually, and few raycasts. So it's generally a simple system in this regard.
Do you ever get the urge to go back to try to make a game with all the things that you're making, or are you just happy now making assets?
Actually, I'm rather happy making assets, I have to say, because it's a huge, and I can see that it's a huge area. You can make about anything. Also, I have many projects that I haven't released yet.
Really?
Plus, of course, yes.
Are we gonna get a sneak peek of some of your secrets then?
I have planned some, yes, some small, especially for the messy coder, you know.
Lovely. You've got Black Mage says, I'm working at the moment. Can you keep the link in the Discord so I can try later? Definitely. I'll put the links to ARTnGAME's stuff on the Discord. Exclamation mark Discord in chat. Now your InfiniTree. Trees are one of those things that we're always trying to find a better solution for. Now, I'm watching your video, and he's chopping away at this tree. Is this all now procedural? Is that a procedurally generated tree that's been able to be chopped in half, or how is this?
So the Infinity Tree has two functionalities. The main functionality is that it optimizes meshes. So you plant the trees, that is separate meshes, can be many meshes or a single mesh tree or many branches. And this takes all these meshes and optimizes them in created batches, for example, with a single mesh that's much faster to render. The other thing that it does is that because it has this ability, it can use an L tree system to create randomized trees at first. So you put very basic elements like a branch or a bark of the tree, and you tell the system to create a tree from these basic elements and by instantiating them. So after this process, the system will batch this together so it becomes fast again. So this is the two main functionalities of InfiniTree, and the optimized functionality is same as InfiniGrass. So I use this process for InfiniGrass also to optimize the meshes and everything.
Now,
the tree chopping is just a functionality of this. So I open the batches at this point, and the tree can be manipulated as the user needs locally, and then can be cut and break and disappear, and then rebatched for keep the performance. So it does all this process behind the scenes. Infinity.
Are you going to do a version up so it works with HDRP for sexy looking textures and trees?
It did. Actually, HDRP version is for now because I don't have time to release it actually.
Oh, the audio cut out just as you were saying. The SRP version is what?
STRP version is already done for InfiniTree and also for InfiniGrass and URP. So because the system is generally both InfiniGrass and InfiniTree are mesh and shade, so you can put any shader and any mesh actually. The only problem is that I use my shader to control my kind of wind, for example. But any shader or material can be used, even in other pipeline or whatever.
Oh.
So it has this ability, so it was generally easy to convert InfiniTree. I just use the shader I could make for URP and HDRP for InfiniGrass, and I convert it directly. So also I plan to have this version available in Google Drive very soon, because I'm just testing it. It's ready, actually.
Now, I'm talking about InfiniGrass. I've got a confession to make. I think I bought it when it was on a sale, and I loaded it up to use it once, and then I got a bit confused, and I haven't opened it since. Mainly because I forgot that I had it. Now, you're going to show your screen in a moment and start playing with things with me, but explain to us all the difference between InfiniGrass and standard grass and other solutions that are on the store, such as what you can do with Vegetation Engine or Vegetation Studio and things like that. Like what is InfiniGrass and what does it do?
I see. So yes, I can answer that. So InfiniGrass is doing what I described with InfiniTree. So it takes meshes that you spread somehow in the scene. In specific InfiniGrass case, I have a raycast that you can spread the grass blades around the scene based on the mesh collider and or unit terrain, for example. And then the system batches these meshes to make them make the rendering very fast. So it's the problem with this is that it's not compatible with generally any method to spread grass, for example, because many users ask me, can I use Jenna, for example, to spread the grass? Essentially, you can, but you have to register this grass with the system to batch it and make it fast. And I would compare this. Actually, the system is closer to Vegetation Studio what Vegetation Studio does, optimizes the grass. But it does it in a way by batching the grass than, for example, using a script to render the grass blades in runtime. So this makes it compatible with any device, actually. So this is one of the perks that I wanted to keep, and I didn't want to go to DirectX 11, for example, compute shader implementation, and keep it also compatible with mobiles and everything. So this is one of the main differences, but generally is grass optimization is the core of the system. And this is what makes it hard to use sometimes, because I understand that maybe you need to use something else to spread the grass, or an easier to spread the grass,
yeah,
for example. So,
these to be helpful for idiots like myself. So this works on mobile. So I could have a load of grass in my scene on a mobile, and then I don't have any problems. And these are real meshes and not billboards.
Yes, correct. You can use meshes, and generally it's very fast. Yes. So many users have used it for mobile, and they are very happy with it generally. And the coming version 2 is an exponential increase in performance generally, because it uses cooling, and it uses also GPU instances much more efficiently. And for shader Model 3 devices, also uses a special method to spread the grass. And all this makes it much faster than the current in the store. So this is something I pursue to release very soon also, because it's in the last stages of development. Plus, it's much easier to spread the grass generally also. And it's faster in the editor, generally has a big improvement, because I make it 3 years now almost. But I was going to release it at some point, but until I polish it to the perfection and create all the automations to make it easier than the first version, it took all this time, unfortunately. But now it's almost close to release.
There's no such thing as perfection. You'll always find a new bug to do.
Indeed.
Now, how about all that touch bending stuff? So if I'm walking around on the grass, is the grass going to move as well? Is it going to detect that I'm pushing against it, or something's bending the grass?
Yes. So this in the current version, there is two ways to change the grass based on the player. So there is scripted interaction that is like the tree chop in the Infinity. So it opens the batch the grass locally. You can do anything with it. So you can script it to bend or anything. And after that, it batches the grass back. So for performance. So this is one type of interaction, but this is a bit slow generally, comparing to the shader-based interaction. And the second type is shader-based. So as the player moves around the grass, it just pushes it, and the grass returns slowly to its previous position. So you see the grass moving based on the player, but then it returns to, it's not permanent interaction like the scripted. And the upcoming version, in version 2, I have also permanent interaction in shader mode. So you can shape the grass in the shader level, but without scripting it. So this is a middle solution which is fast, but it gives you also permanent interaction with the grass. And you can comb it, make any type of shape in the grass, and before even enter the game.
Oh, nice. So you'll be able to have people digging up the ground, putting a farm down, and removing the grass in their level.
Yeah, this is possible, I think. Possible with all versions, actually, because the grass patches can be erased, even at the version 1. But in version 2, of course, you have more possibilities, yes, in this regard, how to remove the grass. You can remove in shader level, you can remove it in the past group level. Yeah, there is a lot of things you can do for this.
When's version 2 coming? Next week, you said?
No, not really. But it's very close. Yes, I already plan to send to a few users that ask for it. So to have a mini beta phase, for example, also. And then I plan to release this month, I hope, in June.
Oh, wow.
Next month. Yeah, so it's very close, yes.
It is close.
I was ready, yes. So, but I need to be sure that usability is much improved over the version 1, which is already, but the more the better, you know.
Wow. So you're going to share your screen. You got some toys for us to have a look at. and have a play with. As I mentioned, Nasos has got 1,000 assets on the asset store. Are you going to show us Infinity Cloud in your computer, or are we not going to have time to play with Infinity Cloud today?
Infinity Cloud, actually, I will show through SkyMaster HDRP.
Okay.
So because it's a part of it anyway. Yeah. So I will show it, yes, for sure.
Awesome. All right. So are you ready for your screen share?
Sure. I have already shared it. See?
No, you're gonna have to share it again because.
Yes, indeed. So.
Yeah, Black Mage HDRP. You say, yeah. So you're fully embracing the HDRP model. We've got Black Mage who now only touches HDRP, only cares about HDRP in his life. All right, so let me pop this out. How do I make it bigger? Pop out. There we go. Discord pop out. All right, so there we go. You got your Unity up? Brilliant.
Yes, it's working?
Yep, it's working.
Okay, perfect. So let's start by the Infinity Cloud. Okay, so I have actually the Infinity Cloud I have put as a prefab to when you create new scene, it creates an Infinity Cloud system directly. So this is Infinity Cloud. So Infinity Cloud is one of the cloud types in SkyMaster generally. There are 4 cloud types main. So this is shader based, and it is a shader applied in object in a scene object. Actually, a set of quads or a set of domes, hemispherical domes. So this is actual objects on scene. It's not image effect. And the good thing about it is that you can also reflect these clouds and use it as an object in the scene generally.
Oh, so they're actually casting shadows and stuff with the sun.
Plus, yes, you can cast shadows with these clouds indeed. And the good thing with this is also that it samples 2D noise, so there is no problem with, like the 3D noise solutions have with the noisy look. So there is no reason to use temporal AI or some other method to remove the noise, for example, from the sampling. And it's very fast also. So this one is what most users I suggest to use for mobile.
I was about to ask you if you can use it on mobile. I'm glad you said that.
Indeed, yes. This is the very good system to use for mobile, and I have many users using it for this purpose. Not the STRP, of course, version, but it's the same shader for all versions, actually, for standard and the URP. So this one is one global system that we can use for mobile, for the platform support mobile, URP and standard. But also can be used in desktop for very fast performance, of course, if you don't want the cloud to take up a lot of performance. For example, full 3D and fly through and all these things.
Now, 2 things. First thing is, chat wants an ice cream because they heard the ice cream van go past my window. And the second thing is, what you said the good thing. What's the downsides? I mean, what's yes. the bad stuff about? Let's look at warts and all.
Yes. So the downside of this cloud type is that it is best when you look above or you look from the ground up. But when you try to fly through the clouds, for example, there is the issue that these are just quads in the scene. So you will see these planes actually. Of course, maybe with some magic you can cover this up while you transition, for example. But of course, it's not for fly-through purposes generally. It's best if you look from down, from up, from down up or up from down. This is the downside of these clouds. So for mobile, if you want to fly through some particle-based clouds, volumetric also, which is specifically for fly-through, and you can do formations also with this. But they are not as expansive as this one because it's mostly for localized clouds, these particles. So these are the 2 types that generally are recommended for mobile because the other ones are much heavy for mobile, the full volumetrics.
I bet people's mobiles are more powerful than my computer, though, saying that.
Perhaps. Perhaps for mine also. I use a 4-year-old laptop. And generally, I use this laptop because I like to do performance tests on as slow machine as possible, so I can optimize things very well. Because if you have the best machine time, then you can never see the problems, for example. So that's one thing I try to do in development. Use this old laptop until as much as possible.
Now you've got what's this Oceanish HDRP water? You've got down there. You got HDRP water, HDRP rain. I'm seeing a lot of HDRP stuff in your project.
Yes. So the water is one sub project I created specifically for HDRP because I have water in SkyMaster generally, and it's very performant and everything. But for HDRP, I decided to take it a step above, for example, and create an ocean system much more complicated, but much with many more features. So I will showcase now a scene with the full volumetric clouds. These clouds support fly-through and the ocean system. So this is just a reflective ocean at this point, plus some refraction, as you see in the sphere here down below the water surface. The full volumetric clouds. So this is the most advanced clouds of SkyMaster generally. And it's available in all 3 versions, in standard and also.
Those are lovely.
You can fly through the cloud. And also, one of the problems I had with water was that the order of the rendering is depends on the transparency. For example, because the water is transparent, the clouds can be rendered above transparency or below transparency. So in this case, when I'm above the clouds and look down to the water, the clouds are rendered above the transparency. But when I go down, I switch essentially the shader. So now I'm rendering the clouds behind transparency. And this is because if you want, for example, weather effects, it will show behind the clouds in this case. So essentially what I have done is create 2 versions of the same system. So if I go to HDRP settings, there is the full volume clouds SkyMaster and the full volume clouds SkyMaster behind transparent. So these 2 render features, for example, image effect for HDRP, are both applied in the same scene, depending on where the player is at each time. So I have created this system so it's compatible generally with water and where you want to put the clouds depending on your transparency in the scene. So this is one thing that took me a long time to realize, but it's now working very good generally. And the switch is happening sometime as the player moves towards the upper part of the cloud.
They look lovely. I really,
yes, it covers a lot of things.
Oh man, I just want to shove my face inside that cloud.
Me too.
So you're talking about weather effects. What kind of weather can we do?
Actually, I have lightning implemented in both in both standard URP and HDRP. So there is a lightning system. Let me see if I have it in this scene.
Oh, while you look for that, we've got a question about the clouds. Excuse my ignorance, says Dan. Be cool. Does this asset offer low poly clouds? So are you only doing realistic clouds, or do you have like a low poly, Minecrafty polygon?
Low poly, no, because in this specific implementation, it uses noise sampling, so it's not like polygons there at all. It's just pixels. So I don't have a low poly, for low polygon style clouds. But I have to say I'm interested in making also this option generally because it would be nice for mobile and would be interested in the mesh manipulation, how you do this to create these clouds. So this is planned actually, but because I haven't done anything on it, so I cannot say if it will be at some point available.
So you're
what is realistic cloud? Yes.
The one thing I notice about the water as I'm looking at it is that there's a tiling effect from the texture of the water. Are you going to put some kind of noise to make them to break it up a bit more?
Actually, yes. So let me show a demo. of the water used with the FFT, the Fourier system, because this is just a bump map now. In this, it's a very simple implementation. So let me see.
Now, while you're doing that, my wife, not too happy that I'm streaming at 1 o'clock in the afternoon because my son wanted to learn to ride his bicycle.
Makes sense.
And now she's coming with a big smile on her face, and she's bought me an ice cream that she got from the ice cream van. So yes, Black Mage, I do have an ice cream now, and it's yellow. It's bright, fluorescent yellow ice cream. So I'm going to eat this while I'm talking to you, Nasos. Now, Fresh Meat says the water was the only thing keeping him from buying Sky Master Ultimate. Looking at this water demo that you've got now, albeit that you're over a VPN and you're streaming your screen to me, so I'm a little bit laggy. The water looks fantastic.
It's a work in progress, but yes, of course, it's much improved over the standard version for the HDRP. Also, I plan to port this to URP, actually, but I don't know when, because it's some work to do it. But generally, I know how to do it, so I also come to URP. But for now, it's HDRP version.
Oh, so, ice cream's so cold. It's ice cream so cold, yeah. Oh my god, brain freeze. So this water is part of the Sky Master pack, or is this separate?
It's part of the Sky Master HDRP version. Right. So yes, the HDRP download has this water actually, except some foam effects.
You need to change the name of Sky Master because it's not just a Sky system. Then if you've got water in there anymore.
That is true. That is true. But the water was always a bonus in the system. So and it's nice for me to have because I can see how my clouds, for example, reflect, and also for users that don't want to try to find how to reflect the clouds generally, because each cloud type, for example, image effects are harder to reflect for all cases. So I give a system that it's ready to use, for example, and reflect everything and they all work together. That's also how I saw it when I created the water also for Sky Master. Besides it's like a bonus to also help me to realize fully the system generally.
So you're able to have then a storm in the sky, and then
we don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents.
Fresh Meat, thank you for the subway. Are you able to make a storm, then cause massive waves, and when the storm passes, the waves disappear?
It's possible. I haven't done this, yes, but it's possible, yes, because everything is adjustable. So you can have the storm and indeed increase the wave height and the patterns and everything. Also, the lightning will reflect on the water and all these things.
Oh, the lightning will reflect on the water.
Yes,
oh my word.
This is basic stuff.
Basic, he says.
So, lightning creates lights that reflect on the water by default from the HDRP. And also does the lighting in the cloud itself from the inside the system.
Now I'm muting myself while I'm eating this ice cream, but Nasos has to listen to me munching away because the microphone's still on for him, which is hilarious. Does the sooner ISO reflect on the water when the sun is behind the terrain? Oh, does the sun also reflect? Oh, I was going to say, what? Does the sun also reflect on the water when the sun is behind terrain? So when the sun is behind a mountain or something, will it still reflect?
That's a good question. I have to say, I don't know. If it's behind a mountain, I'm not sure about this. I have to say that. But generally, it shouldn't, because generally all effects are covered. Also, the clouds and everything is covered when it's. Let me see. Also, I have a URP version of the cloud that I think it has exactly this thing. Let me check. So it has some mountains and it has the clouds and everything. So this is the URP version of the same clouds. Also, and the reflection in the water and everything.
Oh my god, this ice cream is so cold. And the thing is that the ice cream's down in the cone. You know, those are the ice cream cone that you get from the ice cream van. I hate the ice cream cones from the ice cream man, because in my mind, I just see them as always sitting out there collecting dust, being exposed with their grubby hands all over them. Sanyo needs to run. See you. You're going to watch the VOD. Catch the VOD, buddy. Thank you for popping in, Sanny, on a Saturday afternoon. And now all of the yellow snow ice cream is down inside the cones. I have to slurp at it to get it out. So apologies to you, Nassos, listening to me munch away at this ice cream, but it's too delicious to let it melt in my hands.
It's inspiring.
Must be very hot where you are at the moment.
So to answer the question, the sun is hidden behind the mountain. So yes, I never checked about the sun specifically, but the clouds, yes, are made to be hidden, of course, behind the geometry.
Now, Danby is asking, does it work with Gaia? Well, it's a weather system, but it does and lighting, so it should work regardless, because Gaia being terrain. But the new Gaia seems to be adding a lot of his own things and its own lighting system. So I think the latest Gaia, it might get more conflicts unless you start turning off those features within Gaia themselves, because you can't have two different. Can you have two completely different systems controlling your same lighting in your project without it exploding? I don't think it's a good idea.
But actually, you can have parts of the systems, I think, together, because, of course, there can be one sun, I think. So the question there is which you will use. But, of course, maybe you can reference my sun in Gaia systems if you want to use, for example, some image effects from there that may be different or add to the effect. So, yeah, I haven't tried, I have to say, Gaia generally. So, because I never needed to make terrain generally. So, yes, I cannot answer if it will work together, but I'm sure that there is some middle ground that they can indeed work together.
So
of course, with the terrain in Gaia, of course, can work for sure, because it's just unity terrain.
Exactly. Can you show us some crazy weather stuff going on with Sky Master?
Crazy weather, okay.
Yeah.
See, I have some lighting demo in URP version. I will load it up.
Nuts. Oh my god, that ice cream now! I've just inhaled it, and my kids are now outside in the street outside my house, running around high on sugar. So they're going to take a long time to come down and crash from that sugar high. It worked fine with old Gaia, says Gildar. Brilliant. Big Gamey's in the chat. Hello, Big Gamey, buddy. Does the built-in setup use linear now by default? I remember having problems with that way back, even though you helped me solve it very quickly, says Gildar. So yeah, are you by default now using linear, or was it or not?
So yes, I use linear by default generally, because it was also asked by users, and Unity also says use linear, because everything's tweaked for this. But of course, Gamma can be used also. It's not with a few color changes you can well.
Oh, you're frozen. There you go. Back in there. Lost you for a second. Are you still connected to the Australian VPN, or did you go to a European one?
I'm Australian, because it seems to work generally. It's slow on your side, or not?
I lost you for a second. I mean, your reflections in that water look amazing.
So yes, this is also part of the new water that creates a separation between the underwater and the overwater. So this is even if there is waves and everything, it will correctly show, for example, distortion only underwater or light beams. And this is implemented in image effects in HDRP also.
Excellent.
So this is another aspect.
Your rock. The only one thing I'd say is that there's a line on that rock when you're under there that didn't seem to match the height of the.
Yes. This is because the caustics is just a projector, HDRP projector. So the projector can be just, it hasn't been regulated for the demo correctly. It can be go up to match the water. But also, yes, you are correct in this, that the waves also should dictate this line there. So this is a work in progress for next versions to also have the caustics implemented in these image effects and not depend on the projector generally.
Oh man,
but this is a bit more work for sure, because it's not so simple.
That looks lovely. Are you gonna? You gonna have like foam around when it hits against the rocks and things?
Yes. This is foam like this.
Yeah.
And this is just particles actually. So, but HDRP is good in that you can make these particles refractive actually. So they look like a bit like water. So this is also work in progress generally. But yes, already it feels like waves.
That looks lovely. Yeah, the only thing I would add is the noise to break up the patterns on the type from the tiling on the water. Which
indeed, yes, this is done by because in this version, for example, it's not, the waves are not enough to showcase this. So there are two systems with Fourier that can create variety, like in the previous demo. This demo is more simple, so that's why the tiling. Also, everything is adjustable generally.
One thing I did notice when I'm in the airplanes flying over or looking at pictures is that even in nature, there's tiling going on. Not not as bad as you'd get in a game, obviously, but I was always shocked at that when I look at it and go, actually, nature.
Indeed, yes, there is some tiling, yes. When there is storm, okay, this tiling breaks, of course. But generally, yes, waves are like that. They create tiling generally. That's why it's tiling also in the simulation, because it's just waves that eventually they tile. If they are not coming from enough directions, there will be tiling even in nature, like in a lake, for example.
So do you feel like, well, you've got like a lighter version of SkyMaster. I was going to say, do you feel like SkyMaster sometimes is too advanced that it puts people off? But then you do have the lighter version. Because when I look at things like Enviro, it was very successful because it kind of was a simple tool, did a job, and when you look at was it what's the other system called? U-Sky? No, what's it called? The other day and night one we used to. I did a review for it a while back. Unistorm, that's it. Unistorm. Thank you, Dan. Very cool. When it starts to get more complex, people get a little bit, scared that it could be too confusing for them. So would you recommend that if somebody wants something simple to go with just the SkyMaster? Is the SkyMaster equivalent to Enviro, maybe? I don't know, like how would you compare it to other assets in the store?
I would say that much more complex, for sure, because it covers many more cases, has more cloud types. All the things are going in for SkyMaster generally. And this became like that because generally the system was many years in the making, and plus changed the stuff in the middle, because, for example, shifted to another cloud type, and but I decided to keep the previous also, because, for example, the shader clouds are very good for one thing, the particle clouds are very good for another thing. So I decided to make this as a framework that can be used for all cases. But of course, it's more complex. Yes, indeed. That's why I create all these demos and prefabs, and also the standard version has some automation to just put the clouds there. And this is equivalent to what Enviro does, for example. But the other systems, if you want to use them, it's a bit more work to understand what you have to use for what case. So there is both aspects. But for sure, it's much more complex system, because there are many finalized modules that also are kept because they can be needed for different cases. Plus, they give different artistic looks also, I have to say, besides the usability thing. And it's hard to remove something at this point because I like everything there. That's the problem. For me, it's very hard. It's like give away your baby,
but
kind of thing.
Also, because you keep on adding to the original project, the more you add to it, the more you're giving away for free to your existing users. Instead of making them as add-on separate assets or packages. Do you? Let me put it bluntly. Do you still make enough money selling the assets doing that way, or would you have done it differently now? If you were to rely on the asset store, would you work selling multiple smaller packages, or keeping it as one big bundle?
I have to say I will still do the bundle because I like to work with the combined system to have all the aspects in one place, for example. So I like to have water and clouds. That's why I put the water, for example, also. And okay, the money is not amazing, but it's good. It's a good generally to pass by. For example, some months are very good because if you get an offer, it's much better, of course, than previous months. And generally, I'm happy because also I have many more systems to give to the store. So, and I like to have happy customers, not feel like they paid for more for something. I prefer to be more generous in this case.
How much support do you find yourself doing? Like answering emails and chat?
Support actually is not so much, actually. For all these things, I think it's normal, generally. And plus, now I know all support answers.
So you've got like an FAQ copy paste response that you can send out to people.
Indeed, yes. Mostly it's like that now. So, even for STRP and URP now, the questions are easy to answer because I know the setup and everything. And I'm in the process, of course, of making manuals and tutorials for the releases. So this is also work in progress because URP and the STRP are both different and stuff different between them for the implementation of the clouds and all these things. So yes, generally, this also will be much better in the coming months. That everything will be fully documented for the pipelines. Besides the demos, the ready setups.
You're going to get a lot of happy people with those.
I hope.
We've got them in chat right now. Now, Damn saying Gaia 2021 plus Sky Master Ultimate, you have enough to make beautiful environments. Yeah, it always confuses me why whenever we're talking about Sky systems, Sky Master is always one that seems to be forgotten. Doesn't get talked about that much. But then I saw were you in a bundle? Was it a humble bundle? I saw you in some kind of package last year.
Humble bundle, no.
Was it the Unity? It was a Unity bundle or something, wasn't it?
No, I don't think so.
Was it just a sale? Maybe I saw you on.
It was on sale, yes. It was on many sales actually, yes. Probably it's this one, but not in bundle, no.
Is it? I got told the other day that if it wasn't for the sales, a lot of people wouldn't be selling anything on the store. Are you seeing a massive difference now because obviously when you started 10 years ago or nearly about 10 years, 8 years ago now, there wasn't that many publishers on the store. There wasn't that many assets on the store. Are you finding it now a lot harder to get your products visibility out there than it used to be?
Not really, no. I feel like the competition is good in the store generally. It's a good thing because generally the assets are not crazy prices, so people can try a few, for example. So I never felt like nobody will buy Sky Master because we buy another product, for example. Because personally, I would just buy all Skies for if I make a project to compare, to get ideas, to connect, to combine, and all these things. So yeah, generally, I don't feel that this is a problem. The competition, I think it's good. It's a good thing generally.
I love that. Brilliant.
Yeah, because it makes no sense to feel that because another Sky came, my Sky is over, for example. This is not happening generally. in any case. So plus it's an incentive to do your best and do more. So it's my opinion.
Competition. Was they say competition is the mother of it all? Invention or necessity, I suppose.
Indeed.
Now you've got more toys that you said that you're working on. So I'm gonna like Sky Master is your flagship product. I would describe it as that. Like people know ARTnGAME as the Sky Master, even though you've got a lot of these other amazing assets in the Infinity Grass. When Infinity, by those who weren't around at the time, when Infinity Grass came out, the Unity forums, because the Unity forums were actively being used, but you didn't have all these discords back then. It was everywhere. Everyone was talking about Infinity Grass, like, oh my god, what is this? Is it? And the people weren't believing it. They were saying, oh no, it's fake, it's not real. It can't, Unity can't do that. It's not real. So yeah, you've been around for a while. But what new witchcraft, what new things have you got that you're working on that are going to make people having conspiracy theories about?
So, okay, I'm working on a terrain system, new, that is also going to be working alongside all my other systems. For example, I'm making sure that it's compatible with Infinity Grass, new version, Sky Master, and has a unique feature that you can create real-time water formations plus erode the terrain in runtime. It's all in GPU, very fast.
Nice.
So this is my next big project, for example, that will tie everything together. So have terrain, water, and clouds in one. Working together.
Have you got a name for it? What are you going to call it?
Yes. It's named Pangea.
Oh, nice.
It's this one, Pangea. So this is to be decided, of course, the final name, but it will be something like that. So I have a small demo for this. It's not, of course, it's work in progress, but I can show a bit. So this is mesh terrains. So the solution is working on a mesh level, on a mesh, and then can be stamped on the pass to a Unity terrain or remain mesh to be a bit faster. So you can do the normal operations like erase terrain or roller terrain. And this is the rain module. So you simulate rain that also moves the ground. So the rain will erode the ground eventually. And the erosion factor is defined by this variable. So if I leave it a bit, and also you can control the time that this happens. So you can have erosion in runtime plus the water itself. So if you want to have an idea of water, for example, to see from above the sky, you can have this water also flowing in runtime. And this is very fast generally. So this is one of the basic manipulations. Then you can also have a mask for this effect. So you can paint mask directly on even in runtime. All this can be done in editor also.
That's
and apply
nice.
this water, let me see, global rain, use mask. So in this case, it will use the mask to apply the rain. So in this way, you can create rivers and any formation needed, for example. And there is a stamping, like Gaia, for example, there is a stamping there. And the stamping is very versatile, so you can stamp the depth of the scene, stamp this depth maps, and even polylines. So there is all these things happening. This one. And this is the first version, of course, so it will improve as it goes. There's also global noises like this one.
It's reminding me of it's like a real-time version of World Machine, if you remember World Machine.
Good one. Yes. This is one of the inspirations, actually. Yes.
Which takes you about two days for it to render your output, and this is doing it in runtime. That's crazy.
This is done all in GPU, yes. So this is the main thing is that this GPU implementation at the core. So everything else is just effects on top of this system.
Have you released this? We got Son Goku in chat's asking. Have you released this demo so people can download it and play with this demo, or is this just for you at the moment?
I think I had released the previous version of this one, but yeah, I don't remember where even I Discord, I think. So yes, the final release is to be done. It's not still.
So if people want to try and download the previous version, where can they find the link?
I don't even remember as well because it was like a few months ago. But I will send you the new link for sure.
Oh,
for
thank you. Demo. Cool. Yeah, I'll stick it in the chat, and that's is in our Discord as well. Exclamation mark Discord is a member of our Discord. Is one of the first on our Discord of the asset publishers when we made it. Even though it took him 3 years to come on and first sit down and chat with me, it's fine. I forgive him. I forgive him because he's showing us amazing things. Now we were asking about foliage. Are we able to be adding foliage and stuff? You should send it to Messi so he finds all the bugs. Yeah, we've already found a few things.
So yes, the plan is to be able to add trees and everything in the terrain, of course, plus spread. It's just that I planted the forest. Okay, so you can plant forest like this, and of course with rules also. So yes, this would be one feature, and the plan is to also have it working with InfiniGrass system, because this system is just an impostor system that is extra to InfiniGrass. It's not InfiniGrass itself.
Now, when we were looking at InfiniGrass before, I forgot to highlight the fact that you can put it's not just grass. You can put like plants and things like flowers and stuff down of InfiniGrass as well, isn't it?
Actually, yes. You can optimization for everything, so you can use any mesh, trees, rocks, everything. So there's no limitation in this regard. So for example, let me show this one. So this is from the next version, but this specific demo it's also doesn't use version 2.0 features. It just uses the version 1 grass and everything. See, because I pressed the wrong. This beautiful. To be beautiful.
Yeah, you got to be beautiful, Nassos. You got to be beautiful.
Because the shadows, make a big difference if the shadows are not good. So yes, you can place anything. So for example, I can do trees like this, and also plant grass, rotation and everything. And also it can be planted on meshes. For example, in this rock, you can plant directly without using humidity terrain.
That's the massive difference that I love, is that you've got moss and grass growing on your rocks.
Of course, some of the work in progress hasn't.
You've made a golem. You've made a golem. Is that because you managed to get a rock high up, and then everything else is being attached to the mesh collider on that?
Actually, the version 2 uses a specific system that spreads the grass based on a depth map. So in this case, just the rock material has not been properly tweaked. That's why it's not fit exactly on the ground. So it's like a small bug there, but it's just tweaking on the shader, not like programming thing. So every other mesh is just tweaked properly, so we'll just follow the ground. And this is the new method that also can do, for example, you can make a huge mesh, for example, fill the whole terrain with grass, batch it, and then you can adapt it to another terrain. So that's how I use the pooling method also. You can create one batch, and then you can pull it around, so you can have endless maps. So version 2 covers endless maps by default. You can have any size of map, and use the pool to draw these batches and adapt it to terrain with this method that adapts it on the terrain with the depth map. So this is the main thing of version 2. And this needs shader model 3 to work. So it will work on most new mobile. And also 4-year-old mobile will also support, because my Samsung, for example, runs it.
God,
it's very fast.
4 years old Samsung. Nice. Now, Black Mage's got a question. Can you disable the animations? I was going to ask, can you make the animations slower? So both these questions are valid. So when you're spawning things, we can see them animating as they're spawning. can that animation be manipulated? And
yes.
And that grass that you just put down there, it came alive like it was gonna eat the world.
This is tweaked for very strong wind, for example, a sample. So this is one of the things that, of course, yes, it's a bit too much, but it's to emulate thick grass in wind, for example. But it does here. Okay, let me show another demo for this one.
Oh my god! Yeah. So when you're placing them down, can you disable those animations for when you're placing them?
Actually, everything is adjustable, so
awesome.
you can no animation also.
So
if you want to plant the tree and appear and not animate, it can be done for sure.
Cool. So yeah, I wanted to do it so that it goes really slowly. It grows very slowly over a period.
I see. So here is this is a problem generally if you grow it very slowly, because the problem is that the grass needs to be batched to be fast. So
there you go.
If you plant the whole terrain and you are not batching it and you leave it to grow, for example, then it will be very slow. So the effect is just for this, just bring it to, but it can be for slow. I would recommend to do a shader based thing. So I have a weather system, a season system that is applied directly on the shader level. And this is work in progress, but I plan to fully realize it at some point. Because
oh wow! So that you can have different seasons and different, like you can have the grasses all withered away and brown in the autumn and dead in the winter, and growing in the spring and grown in the summer.
Plus, also the plan is to actually grow the grass with different textures even, and let between the two textures of wheat, for example, in the early stage and the full-grown stage on the later stage. So this is one thing I'm working on right now.
Oh wow! You're working on a lot of things.
Indeed.
You're gonna have enough
many
time.
More projects.
Yeah.
And it's because it's like a passion, that's why. So this is just spreading trees, for example, in terrain. So this is a sample of endless trees. You can have endless terrain, and these are pulled to the new terrains, for example. So it can be endless with the same performance generally.
We like endless. How many of you seems like you're? How many of you? Yeah. So how many people are there in ARTnGAME? Is it just you by yourself? And
it's just me by myself.
Oh, that's lonely. So, how many projects would you say you work on then?
It's a lot. It's a lot. I have 5 projects to release soon, hopefully in June, and another 5 projects that I am halfway. For example, one is creature customization. For example,
you got 5 that you're releasing in June, and 5 more that you're working on. Did you say?
Indeed, yes.
So these are 5 new assets to the asset store, or 5 general projects?
Actually, it's not exactly new. So one is Sky Master HDRP version. The other is this Oceanese water system, which is the ocean, just the ocean from the Sky Master HDRP. I will also release it as standalone for anyone that just need the water, for example. And then there's this Pangea, this with the terrain. Is Infinigrass version 2 that's very different than 1, so it's like a new asset in essence. And another one, I think it's with the rivers, and basically this 5 and the river system.
And the river system. That's just it. they come on. You're going to release all of those in June, or are you...
No. The river system, maybe not, but the others are planned for June. Yes.
Wow, crazy!
I'm doing the manuals now, basically, and the and all these things.
Oh my word!
We don't make mistakes. We have
and this is the
accidents.
burn system from the grass. I'm showing now.
Thank you, Big Gamey, for the sub. That's crazy. So, so you're able to, like, when you're setting this on fire, it's gonna kill the grass.
Indeed, yes. It's burning slowly through the shader. So of course, this is work in progress also. It can be better, but generally, yes, you get the idea. And I have also applied the particles. Also, still is patterned a bit the particles, so I want to apply this method to create a noise there for the fires and all those things.
So
the general system.
You've got the river system you've come in. That's what's, you got terms out. So is the river system going to seamlessly integrate with Oceanus? So are you going to have the river able to flow into your oceans?
That's a good question. At this point, no, because it's separate systems generally.
All right. Let me go even further for you then. So you make with Pangaea to make the terrains, right? And you've got the erosion from the rain causing a river. Okay. Now I'm going to say then you've got your Oceanus. So with Skymaster, then you've got the rain falling. So you're going to need to do rain falling from Skymaster down into the terrain, then the rain forming in the river, and the river then being pushed by the increase of water in the river down into the ocean.
Actually, this is possible if you use only the Pangaea system. This is possible, but without my river system that is for specific rivers, because this is a procedural runtime Pangaea, while the other system is made to create specific rivers in specific places, for example.
So you can do that with your Pangaea system?
No yes. Yeah.
So Davy Cool's got the same thinking. Oh, that would be a heck of a demo. Exactly. You show that off in a demo, and you've got people throwing their money in your face. Take my money now, Nasos. Take my money.
Hopefully.
I like your dancing plants. It feels like something out of Disney.
Yes, I think I did. I think I put too much Z wind there.
It seems like I've missed a lot already. Yeah, basically NASA's already blown my mind a few times today on this early stream.
Thanks.
It's shockingly amazing stuff that we've got here from Nasos. Bearing in mind that Nasos has been around on the Asset Store since well before 2000. December 2014 is when Skymaster was released. I'm just gonna have a look to see when your particle effects were first released. Now you've got two particle effect systems. You've got Advanced FX Creator, decals, particles, radiosity, and splines, and then you've got the other one, which is Dynamic Magic 2. Now let's have a look. When was the first release date? October 2014. Okay, so that's a long time. And the other was released. Just scrolling while you're showing off your toys. April 2014. So April 2014 is when you started. Not 2015. April 2014. So that's
indeed, I don't even remember much after all this time.
That was a long time ago. And then your Toon Pack came out in 2015 because those not known. You've actually got a Toon Effects Maker, special effects for cartoon style, toony style stuff, which doesn't get a lot of noise on the Asset Store. But how does that work? How does your Toon Effects work? Is it just putting an outline over everything, or is it more detailed than that?
Actually, this is mostly Toon effects for particles. So there is some Toon water, Toon effects for particles, but not Toon shade, for example, like for characters. This is more specific, like some assets that are doing only this. So it's mostly particle effects for weapons and all these things. Avras, like. And some I have also implemented some scripting like projectiles and some mouse recording and making sprite sheets from particles and all these things.
Nice. Now Dan Vickle's asking, what games? Do you know what games have been? I was going to what games have been made with the Toon stuff. What games have been made with with your assets in general? Do people show you stuff? Have you got a showcase? Do people message you and say, "Hey, I made this game using SkyMaster or something"?
Generally, I had some games, yes, but generally I'm not aware of a final game that has used the systems. I don't know. So I know games that are used for sure from the development time, but I haven't followed what happened to final game, for example. So yes, I cannot say about it.
It's a shame that when games don't get released, they tell people in the credits.
Indeed, yes,
They should,
would be interested to know.
Yeah, they should put it in the credits section of the games. I used these assets, like you do on the Unity. Now, I'm going to be cheeky because I forgot to ask you earlier. I'm gonna be cheeky because even though 3 years ago, 2 years ago, you gave us some prizes to give away on the stream, which was incredibly generous of you. Given that you've got your new releases coming out, have you got any keys that you would be generous enough to offer us a raffle for our beautiful audience who are coming in to watch you during the daytime? Should we do a raffle? Give away a prize for one of your
yeah, sure, of course. I have vouchers a lot, so yes, of course I'd like to give.
You told me years ago that you never do anything with your vouchers. You're like, I don't do anything with my vouchers. If I'm not going to give them to you, they're not going to get used.
Indeed, I have a lot. That's true. That's still standing.
What should we do? What should we give away? Should we give away a copy of the SkyMaster and an Infinity Grass, or how do you want to do it?
Yes, of course.
Right, don't generate the keys now because we're sharing our screens and everyone will see the keys.
Yes, okay. Okay, sure.
Because I've done that before. I've accidentally shared the keys on a stream. Not just once, a couple of times. Unity only issued 12 per...
It's not good.
Yeah, exactly. I've learned that the hard way. Yeah, big game. So exactly, 12 keys per asset, and if you have to wait for the key to be used before those 12 months start again. So it's crazy. I want Infinity Sky Oceanus Pangea Master.
It did. I think there will be some packets like this eventually.
The master
packet. It makes sense to put all together at some point, but yes.
Well, now that your Unity have got this bundle, this system that if you buy if you bundle everything into one asset, you don't have to put the files physically in there. You basically sell an asset for, I don't know, $100, and by buying that $100, then they can download the other assets directly from the store, which makes it a lot easier. You don't have to worry about packaging lots of different things.
I have already bought many of these bundles actually. It's very interesting. Yes. But this is a specific assets they choose, right? Or not?
No. So if you go to Polygon Maker did it. So if you go to Polygon Maker, he's got an asset which is like $500, and if you buy that asset of $500, you don't actually get anything. You then go to each of his individual assets.
Let's have one.
And then you can download each of the individual assets after you've bought the main one for $500. Alex, the lights off. Thank you for the follow. So basically, your main bundle is empty. It's an empty asset. All it is giving people licenses. It's a bundle of licenses. That's all it is. So in the past, if you were doing a bundle and separate assets and you patched them and updated them, you would have to upload all of them to the store individually. Whereas now, you're just selling a license and you only have one version of it on the store that you have to worry about updating. So it makes your life a lot easier. It's a great way of doing it. So
I don't know. I have to say I didn't know about it. That's very interesting.
There you go. I'm teaching you things.
Yes, it did. Because it does a lot of things, you know. Yeah, so, but it's good. Yes, indeed. If it's like that. And I would like to do this at some point, yes, with my assets generally, because it's nice to have all things, for example, to create a full world. And Pangea also could be nice to have in one bundle with all the grass and the sky.
And you've been doing this stuff for ages with Unity. Have you wanted to do anything on the Unreal marketplace and play about with Unreal things?
Actually, I have thought about it many times to have some assets work in parallel for both, but there's no time. That's the problem. And because C++, okay, is much better than it used to be many years ago, so I think it would be generally not at this point. But there's no just a matter of time because I have set up everything with Unity. It's easier for me in Unity, for example, to do anything there. So at this point, yes, I have thought about it, but never acted on it. You know,
you'd have to hire more staff. So you'd have to hire people to come work for you to be able to handle the Unreal things, maybe. Now with Unreal 5, though, and all these add-ons that they're doing and all this fancy stuff, and Lumen, there's I think it's opened the door for artists who are making loads of high definition models, but for lighting solutions they've got themselves covered. So with Unity really needs help making beautiful looking lighting. So this is where Asset Store really comes in. How did you learn to do all this stuff? How did you learn this in the first place? Because it's like you can't go to school to learn how to do these kind of things in Unity.
Indeed, this was mostly experience and error, actually. So that's how I cannot describe it well. Plus, Internet, of course, it helps immensely. You know, to have stuff to see, tutorials and ready code even, and all these things. It helps a lot. So generally, it's experience and you know, just go out and make the thing. So and you see then what the problems are, and the devil is in the details. So it's an ongoing process even now. It's a lot of things to do for sure to do all these things. Yes.
Now, given that you've stopped making, you haven't even gone back to try to make a game since you started doing these, and you're saying that you enjoy doing these assets so much. Would you recommend, if somebody wants to get started and make assets on the Asset Store, would you recommend it over making a game or both?
I can say depends. Because it depends on what game you can make, what is your budget to make this game, and what help you have. And the balance between you know, making a game and making something more specific, for example, to sell in the store. But generally, yes, I would say it's a good way to improve your skills also and create something specific and learn Unity also by making some assets, for example. And that's how I also thought about it at first place, that I will make all these things and then I will make my game even better, for example. So, but these things are endless. So
that day might come one day, Nassos. It might come one day where you're going to be making your game.
It did. Who knows?
Oh, for Chris, sorry I'm late. Well, development, hello. Well, get a seat, sit down, because we're gonna be doing a raffle. We're gonna be giving away a copy of what did we say? Sky Master. Should we give a copy of Sky Master Ultimate for somebody?
Yeah, sure. Sky Master and Infinigrass also.
Okay, cool. So we'll do 2 raffles: a copy of Sky Master Ultimate and a copy of Infinigrass. So the first raffle is for Sky Master Ultimate. Now, I have to say, I started making my asset, my first real asset for the Asset Store. It was around November 2018, Nassos. Messi's Ultimate Character Creator, right? And the problem that I had, the idea was wonderful. It was the execution that was terrible. All right, raffle is open! ! Raffle in chat! ! Raffles in chat if you want to win a copy of the amazing Sky Master Ultimate. Now, if you'd missed it, it's not Sky Master Ultimate. Nassos is a big dirty liar because it's clouds, water, it's got sea in there, it's got everything. It's got it's a storm, weather system. It is every single thing you can think of. It's not just it's got fog, volumetric fog in there. It's got all these bells and whistles. It should be called Everything Ultimate. Everything Master Ultimate.
Everything Master, yes.
Yeah, Everything Master Ultimate Edition is what it should be called. Now, because I can't even fathom what it must be like developing that, because while I was making my own games for like playing about at home, my assets that I was making was working perfectly. I even had this last night, making a new version of Mark and my skill system, and for my demo scenes, everything was perfect, worked exactly how I wanted it to work. And I gave it to Yolan in chat, and he loaded it up on his computer, and even the slightest change that he did meant nothing was working as it was intended. And all these everyone at home uses your assets in different ways and different projects, and even different versions of Unity, different versions of HDRP, let alone different versions of Unity. How on earth do you manage coding and supporting all this stuff?
That's a good question. It's a lot of work for sure. And the support in the sense of not direct support, but making the things like to be as much automated as possible and work in every version. This is a lot of work. So maybe I don't have direct support so much, spend time so much on this direct support. But for sure there is a huge work involved to test everything. For example, now the HDRP and the URP are tested on all Unity versions until HDRP URP 12, for example. And I found the issues, I corrected them, I have ways to overcome them, because there is some things breaking and all this. So this is huge time, of course. It's like, but you see a lot of things, and you are prepared also for everything. That's why I don't have this direct issues, because they are pre-handled. But this pre-handling, of course, it's crazy work.
Crazy
you can't
work.
Imagine. You can't imagine.
Well, the thing is, I try to imagine because I'm having to now, and I don't, and I'm really regretting it. And it gets to the point where I'm thinking, you know what? If they're not doing everything exactly how I'm doing on the exact version I'm doing it, then it's their own fault. I'm not going to support them. It's in the README file I'm going to make. It says you have to be using my project. Here is my sample project. That's the only one it works on. Otherwise,
that is our solution.
That is a solution, isn't it? Because that's why it is so much easier making your own game versus making an asset, because you only have to care about if it works in your own situation.
Indeed. That's very true. And you can keep one Unity version, for example, not expand to the Unity 2021, for example.
And that's the other point is we had a few people, and we had developers as well. So we were saying that if you are making a game, and you stick to that version of Unity that you've started making your game, find a stable version and stick to it. Even if Unity bring out a newer version, do not move your game over halfway through development. Stick to it, finish your game with that version, and then in the next project you're working on, use the new version. But do not keep changing versions while you're doing it, unless it's a forced change that something's broken or different.
Generally, I agree with this. Yes, because most of my projects I try to also remain to actually Unity 2018. This the older version, because it's faster generally as in editor also, and it also is good to have a common denominator, in the 2018, and then I test in all next versions. So the packages that I managed to keep in 2018, I'm happy about because they are globally compatible, But some, for example, the STRP and URP versions, I decided to move them to 2019 because the 18 was not good at all with URP, and the STRP. It was very behind. But 19 is good because, there is, of course, there's breaking changes to 2020, 21, but at least they can be handled. So, and I have handled them. So that's why I moved most projects to 2019 for the new pipelines.
Black Majors, I use HDRP hardcore mode, no saves. It feels like that. It feels like you're playing a game when you're using Unity. I was watching Yolan streaming last night using 2020 Unity, and every time he was doing anything, Unity loads up with that little pop-up window.
Yes, the pop-up window.
The pop-up window of doom.
It's crazy. This is crazy.
And he spends all of his time, and he doesn't spend any time developing anything. He spends all of his time waiting for Unity. That's all it is.
I have the same problem actually with the new versions. That's why I stick to 19, because until 19 was so generally good. And I have also an external hard disk, which makes things even worse. So I use 21 for the tests, plus external hard disk because the projects are exceed my laptop for sure. And then I see all the time this pop-up windows is crazy. So I hope that. So at least not see this windows.
Do you know what? I'm waiting for Unity 2022 when they fix this pop-up problem. So I'm going to go from Unity 2019 to 2022, and I'm pretty sure then it's going to be resolved. Right, with the first raffle's come to an end. Let's announce the winner. So the winner is, drum roll. We should use it. Do you have thunder with the lightning? Does it make the noise, by the way, or is it just the visual effect? So when the lightning hits, can we go add a sound file to be triggered?
Not really. I just give a generic sound.
At least it's something. Right, the winner is.
It's possible, yes, to put, of course, because I instantiate this lightning module, so it can have this module the sound, and also emulate even the placement of the sound. But I haven't done this.
We'll have to have a play with that. Big Gamey, you're the winner. Congratulations. He wins. He wins Nationals. Big Gamey has won it. We're gonna that's for the Skymaster. We're gonna do a copy of Infinigrass. Can you show your Infinigrass again as we're gonna do it, just to show people, because Infinigrass is one of, when it came out everyone was talking about it, but I have to say I don't hear that many people talking about it these days, which is crazy, because Infinigrass, it does exactly what it says on the tin. Is infinity, but not just grass, as we say. Fresh Meat was the first one in with the raffle, so we're doing Infinigrass. It's not just grass, as we just see it's going past. Look at these plants that you've got. You know, they're proper meshes, by the way, if you're wondering. They're not billboards, but you can have clovers. Think of it like real ivy, but on the ground for plant life. So whereas ivy's crawling on things, and it blows my mind that you can paint the grass and the foliage onto rocks or any meshes that you want as well. That's just crazy.
Yes. This is one of the perks of the system, yes, that doesn't need unit terrain or something. Plus you can filter it because it depends only on specific parts. So even this depth system, you can have specific layers in the depth buffer, for example. So some objects may not receive the grass, for example.
Now, I'm worried about, because we're saying we're batching in the grass, which is all fine and good. The thing that worries me, though, Nasos, is that as you're painting all this in, it's real meshes. These are real, and they're casting shadows, and they're receiving shadows. So isn't that still going to cause a performance problem with all of these shadows?
For sure, yes. So the shadows are fully controllable. So you can have LOD levels and control the shadow in the LOD also. So of course, yes, the shadows is nothing I can do about this, but I can do control with the LODs. So for example, a few meters away, you can have an LOD shadows. And this helps, of course, because it cuts a lot in the whole process. Yeah, or of course, we can cut the shadows generally, but I wouldn't recommend because it's not as beautiful.
That's the thing. You gotta have it on beautiful setting. It really makes a massive difference, though.
And if it's batched, the grass generally is fast even with shadows, generally. So because the draw calls are very general for the shadows also.
So what numbers are we looking at when we're talking about FPS? What kind of numbers are we looking
at? Depends on the system. For example, in this laptop, I use as a stress test because it's a bit old. And you can get 60 FPS easily, generally, with the grass in the full batch mode. But and also in version 2, you can get that with endless terrain. So generally, it's very fast.
Now, obviously, everyone knows problems with HDRP and no grass support, and Procedural worlds making their own HDRP grass. Now with Infinigrass, and we've got Black Mage using HDRP in chat. Once he's HDRP grass, have we got any problems with now the current version? We're having to wait for the new version of Infinity Grass to handle HDRP support.
Actually, the HDRP and URP are already released drive. So any user that want, I have a full conversion for this. The new version, the version 2, will also have, when it comes out, will also have URP and HDRP versions ready for use. So everything is covered in both, in all three pipelines generally. I have worked on this to be full ready. And it's just a shader actually. It's not. It's the shader plus the system that does the depth in version 2 that changes between versions. And all this has been done. So it's ready for all versions actually.
Are you? Was it you saying this is going to be one of your 5 in June? Are you sure?
Which one? Infinite Grass?
Yeah.
Yes, Infinite Grass 2.
In June?
Because
that's next month.
It's already almost. Yes. Hopefully, because you know this project has dragged for 3 years almost. So I don't want to give 100% promise, you know, because it's a huge project. Compared to version 1, it's like another 4 assets actually.
Wow.
Because the optimization that gone in is it uses version 1 for the batching, and that's all. Because after that, it does pooling, it does GPU instance in a specific way. It does also patch billboards to increase performance in the billboards itself. So, and many more things. So you can use one material to have many grass types and paint them in this texture I have to control the interaction plus grass type. So there is many things besides the version 1 that has gone in version 2. It's like a new system totally, actually. That's why it took so long to make. But it's much better, of course. It's vastly better than version 1.
So what's the upgrade path for people who have got version 1?
So for the upgrade, I plan to have an initial just $5. So everybody that wants the system can have it for $5 if they have the previous system.
Wow.
Then I will increase the upgrade price to something like $30. I'm not sure. This is to be decided, depending on what price will be the final thing. But I plan generally for all users that have already Sky Master and Infinity Grass, they can just I can just give it in Google Drive download or make an offer to get it for $5 at any time for everybody that bought it before the release. And that's my general idea about everything. That previous users that supported me can have it all very free, very cheap.
That is great for your users, but it's not going to help you buy that Ferrari, Nasos. You're not going to get
what to do.
Now, so that means whoever's going to win this raffle now can upgrade for a $5 when it comes out. So the winner is... Please don't be BitGamey again, because that'd be crazy. Distant Temples! Oh my gosh. He hasn't won anything in a long time, to be honest. He hasn't won anything in a long time. Distant Temples, congratulations. You got yourself some grass. Congratulations, Distant Temples. Speak up or I'm going to have to re-roll it. I can't believe that they're bringing out, well, let's say 5 with the other as an update in a month's time. It's crazy. I don't know how you find
hopefully yes. I have already done the promotional images and now I'm doing the manuals and all these things, you know, the final touches.
Wow.
Hopefully. But I haven't spoken about the tree system I have also.
Yes, show us your tree system.
So the tree system is different from Infinity Tree in that it's a tree generator than a totally random tree generator and optimizer. So this does not do optimization in massive level like Infinity or Infinity Grass. It does optimize the mesh, of course, in the end. But the basic features of this is that it can create randomized trees and mix it with polyline-based trees. So the tree can have some branches defined by a polyline that is fully controllable by the user. So this gives total flexibility in how to define the tree versus the only randomized tree systems, for example. So this system is actually pretty ready as well. The core is this spline system that creates the branches, and also an attachment system that attaches these branches to the previous branch or to the bark, for example. So this system also I plan to release in July or August, something like that, if all go well.
So this is
generally it's already working.
This is part of your second batch of 5.
Yes, correct.
Oh, that's crazy.
So in the video is the attachment system. So you create a spline-based branch and then you attach it to the other branches. And this can be done also procedurally through the system without the user. But this is not implemented fully yet, so this will take some time.
Oh, that looks lovely. I love that. Sengoku's asking... Sorry, tell me?
So this also can be used in any mesh because some users ask me about extending, for example, photogrammetry bark that I have with the branches, make a tree, like Speed Tree does in some latest video. So this is exactly the incentive to make this system. To branches, attach them, match the materials, and then spread, of course, a tree from these branches. So this is another thing that this package will be able to do.
Wow, can't wait for August. Sengoku's asking, you had an upgrade path previously for Toon Effect Maker to go to Infinigrass. Is that upgrade path still there?
I'm not sure. Maybe I can check. It should be, actually. Yes, this is the small version. It's okay. So Toon Effects to Finigrass is $5. Yes, there is. Yeah, I didn't even remember about. Okay, well, you can. It did. It did.
Oh, they can't hear me. I muted myself by accident. Oh, here you go. We can't hear you, Messi Coda. No, they can't hear me. I muted myself by accident. As I was saying, give me an exclamation mark ARTnGAME in chat and an exclamation mark Skymaster in chat. But I've already did it. I already typed it in. I think Messi's audio is gone. There you go. He's back. Yes, I am. I do apologize. So I was muted while there was screaming going on in the background in my house. Because it is daytime, which means the kids are awake. If the kids are awake, it means the kids are screaming. And if the kids are screaming, it means the kids are happy.
Well, that's good.
that is good. Nasos, thank you so much for coming in. You got a million things to do, and I thought, we'd be for an hour, but we've been 2 hours playing.
Indeed.
And
okay.
chatting.
Interesting. It passed like very fast.
Exactly.
Very much also for all.
They say that if you're having fun, time goes quick. Did you have fun, Nasos?
Of course. Come on, I saw my baby's here. So a lot of fun. Infinite fun.
Infinite fun. That's what you need to release as the next asset. Infinite fun. Now, in June, you've got 5 stuff coming, and in August, you've got more stuff coming. So, but after August, when August is out of the way, and you're able to breathe, because when your new assets coming out, you will be very busy with support. Are you going to come back on in the winter to talk about the new releases that you've done?
Of course, yes. It will be very interesting, yes, and to tackle even one by one, because it's every one of these parts is huge. For example, Pangea is a lot of things there to cover. So yes, of course, it will be a great honor to do that.
Do you know what, Nelson? I'm gonna load them up on my computer, and I'm going to see how many bugs and how much I can break while we're on a live stream together. And if I can make that rain fall down like the song says, that'll be awesome. Time to cheat to get some assets for less money, and I mean the upgrade guide. Well, yeah, he's made the upgrade path there to reward you for buying his assets. If you want to be !Skymaster in chat, !ARTnGAME in chat, go pop over, purchase his assets, do your upgrade path, but don't forget, most importantly, after everything that you've done, leave a review on the asset store. Go over and leave a review. And those of you, Big Gamey, Distant Temples, who've won, don't forget, when you've got your prize, pop over to the asset store and leave your review if you liked it and on what you said. And if you want, every now and again, put a cheeky little plug for the channel on the review on the asset store as well, just to remind Unity that we exist, that we're here. Now, Sos, thank you so much for coming on. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you so much too. It was amazing.
And I will catch you.
I regret what I do it earlier.
Well, that's good. That's good. I'm glad because you know what they say about regrets. They teach us not to make the same mistake again. And you're coming back in.
Indeed.
You'll be twice in 1 year. No Russian song. He's not Russian. He's Greek. How is he Russian? And actually, Nasos, I make people sing a song in their native language. Would you like to sing a song in your native language for us, just as you're leaving and saying goodbye? A nursery rhyme or anything?
In my native language.
Yeah. Like is there a nursery rhyme that you had as a child that is a good one to sing? He's never coming back now.
Indeed. Let me think. I cannot think.
Is it nothing at all that springs to your mind? No childish memories of singing a song or anything at all? What did you used to sing in the playground? Patty cake. Was there like a patty cake? You know, patty cake, baker's man, or cooking?
I knew I saw, with my cousins we talk like a papaya song.
Yeah.
Do
that one. Do that one. Sing that one.
Τα παπάκια στη σειρά πως χορεύουνε τρελά. All I can remember from my childhood.
That's brilliant. That's awesome. I love it. Oh wow. I'm with him on this one. Giving away assets and being forced to sing on a stream. Yes.
Plus sing.
That's the rules. The rules are you have to sing for your dinner in my household. Oh my word. That's us. Thank you so much. I'll catch you later, buddy.
Sure. Thank you very much. About the vouchers, I will send you.
Yeah, send it to me on Discord. Now that I'm not sharing your screen anymore, it's safe. No one at home can see it.
Okay. Sure.
So send the Skymaster Ultimate and the Infinity Grass, and anyone who didn't win it, don't forget you can just pop over to the asset store, and if you're being cheeky like Sengoku, he's running off buying as many of the cheaper assets that he can find, and then upgrading to the more expensive ones.
Indeed.
So there you go. He's finding exploits in the system for now.
Also, it's not exploits. Actually, anyone that wants can ask me about an offer if feels that we could get something a bit cheaper. Of course, I can do offers for my assets generally. So if someone buys my Sky system, I can do many offers after that.
The upgrade.
I do that all the time actually, because why not?
You've got a screenshot of your old upgrade path apparently, and Sengoku says that not all of them are correct prices anymore.
Yes, indeed, that's true. I haven't updated that in ages. So,
but for those for that particular one,
this one,
the Toon one, he did just text Sengoku. He was logged in. I could see, and the Toon one to the Grass one is $5. There you go. Now,
this one, yes, is
can I have some HDRP stuff to test for you? So Black Mage Actually, in saying that, there was a beta program that that Nassos mentioned earlier. So if you are a customer and you want to get in the beta program, then and he's got available seats, drop him a message and a cake or something, and see if you can get into his beta program for beta testers of the HDRP things. So there you go. Nassos, take care, buddy. I'll catch you soon.
Sure, take care. Thank you very much for everything. And I hope we'll do it again soon.
We will, buddy, we will. What a lovely badger. What a lovely badger. Russian, no Russian song. Gilda. Russian song. Oh my word. How could he say such? How could he say such? Big Gamey's won a copy of Skymaster Ultimate. And Distant Temples won the Infinigrass. Singing on stream is always great, but I'm glad I never be a guest. They told me I sound like a singer, not the entertainer, like a sewing machine. Oh my word. If you want to see more of my crazy videos, click on the left side of your screen now. And down below, there's that big juicy subscribe button. And right next to it is the magic bell that if you click it, it will tell you if I've got a new video coming out. Till next time.